Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. So like I said before, we are going to be covering Fafnir again because there are so many changes to Fafnir that makes so many different Espers more valid this time. Like for example, I'm using a Dhalia on this team and this works tremendously well. So as long as you have Espers that can push AP bars, so for example, if you have a Clara, for example, if you have an Asenath, they are all going to be very relevant in Fafnir. Now the thing is, you still cannot reduce Fafnir's AP, so that's one thing for you to consider. But okay, so without further ado, right, I'm just going to go ahead and show you the stats of my Espers and whatever that I'm running them with. And then we're going to go into it and I'm going to continue talking about Fafnir. So here are all of their stats. Oh, I nearly showed you my Dhalia stats. Oh, okay, but anyway, let's go, right? Let's talk less over there. Okay, so some of the changes are number one. Now, Fafnir's shield no longer mitigates damage completely, so now you can still do a little bit of damage to Fafnir. And number two, obviously AP pushing is a thing, and AP pushing is going to be a big thing. It's going to be tremendously powerful, and it's going to be some of the ways that you can build a very fast team. And honestly, okay, I have to be clear about this. My teams are not super fast. Okay, so my teams are around 2 minutes on the dot, about 2 minutes. And it's not quite the same as someone else who has like something sub 1 minute or something like that. Which is something that I'm going to consider looking into in the future. But anyway, the third thing, what was the third thing? Right, Fafnir's HP is greatly reduced. So as you can see here, we are already dropping his HP bar so quickly, which is something to take note of because now it's going to be so much easier for you to down his HP bar, which can be a good or a bad thing. So what you notice is that sometimes, before we can even wear off our debuffs, his HP is already down to 0, which means that he's going to throw his AoE attack again, and that's not going to be a good thing all the time, right? So for example, if we are stunned and we reduce his HP bar again, we are going to continue remaining stunned. So it's quite important that you have Espers that can manage your sustainability, right? So for example, Berenice is still going to be quite essential here. Oh, see, there you go. So now I lost my Berenice because we're not able to get rid of the shield. Oh, our Berenice didn't die. Okay, that's interesting. But yeah, I do feel like Berenice is still going to be one of the best choices for you to bring to Fafnir, especially if you're a newer player, right? Especially if you're a newer player, she's gonna give you so much utility. She's gonna give you multi-hits, she's gonna give you the very big shield, and she's gonna give you a lot of defense breaks as well if you're running, the buff stripping path, which I am not. Now, another thing for you guys is, this is something that Sergi had actually taught me, which is you can go for the right tower if you feel like you're lacking a little bit in your sustainability, for example. If you find that it's still a little bit too difficult for you, you can always choose to go for the right tower first, because the right tower is going to cleanse the debuffs from Fafnir and give Fafnir the immunity. But removing that will make it a little bit easier for you to control Fafnir and to generally make your runs a little bit smoother. So this was actually our fastest run so far. 1 minute 53 seconds. Okay. So this is the second team that I want to showcase for today's video. This team is a lot slower than the previous team. It is more geared towards sustainability because now we only have 2 DPS Espers, right? We only have Louis and we only have Tang Yun. And honestly, it's less free to play because we have a Catherine and we have an Ahmed. So that's essentially 2 legendary Espers in the same team, so to speak, right? Because, Shimmer epics are very rare. Now this team, while it is a bit slower, it is I think it's almost invincible, and I don't think I've actually lost at all, right? So this team has about 100% win rate, super safe, super smooth, and the longer your fight drags on, the more your damage will be, because Ahmed is just going to give you a lot of the supportive buffs, and it's also going to remove all the HP cap reduction that the boss lands on your team. So let's take a look at how this works in the boss fight itself. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to start with a Sonic Camo, and yeah. So basically, the reason why Catherine is so good here is because she removes debuffs whenever she takes a turn. So what you notice is that the boss is going to land a ton of debuffs on us, right? So for example, over here, you're going to get slows, yeah, we're going to get speed down, and we're probably going to get stunned sometimes, right? But the thing is, as long as Catherine gets a turn, like that's it. She's gonna completely remove it instantly, right? So that's very helpful. And of course, sometimes, there are stuff like healing debuff and all that. Ahmed's gonna get rid of it. But the thing is, if Ahmed doesn't get rid of it on time, Catherine can still remove it. And the thing is, not only does Catherine remove debuffs from your team, she also increases the AP of your team. So she's actually kind of like an AP battery for this team as well. So we have 2 Espers over here who are increasing AP. Number 1, we have Catherine. Number 2, we have Dhalia. And now Ahmed is going to be so important because his third skill allows our cooldowns to reduce quite a fair bit. And that allows my Dhalia to throw her third skill a little bit more frequently, which, continues the AP pushing, right? And on top of that, of course, that cooldown reduction benefits both my Louis and my Tang Yun, but honestly more so for my Tang Yun because Louis don't really do so well with his third skill as opposed to his first skill. Well, at least that's how I feel. But yeah, so that's it for this run. It is incredibly smooth. And the time it took us is 2 minutes. So it's slightly slower. And before I forget, here are the stats of Catherine, and here are the stats of Ahmed. And the question that I'm going to get asked a lot is probably going to be, what is the replacement for Louis? Now, honestly, there is a lot of Espers that can replace Louis. So now Lynn is going to be an awesome replacement because if you take a look at her passive over here, her captain ability, she also increases attack in Ritual Miracles by 30%, which is exactly what Louis can do. So this team is also quite high functioning, although it is slightly towards the slower end because that's the problem with Hall, right? So the reason why I'm using Hall here is whenever we land a single target attack, Hall is going to follow up with an attack that does 40% of its attack, which is honestly not a lot. But the thing is, it is extra procs and extra hits for us and a little bit more extra DPS sometimes. But the problem with it is it's extremely slow animation. So as you can see over here, it takes you about 1 extra second for Hall to respawn and to attack afterwards, which is something that really defeats the purpose of having extra DPS, right? So that's something that I've talked about as a way to improve Hall, which is to reduce the animation time that he has on his kit. This is way too long of an animation. Look at that, right? It's like it takes forever. It takes forever to aim and release his arrows. But nonetheless, this team is still going to be high functioning, right? So as you can see over there, that Mistletoe Hunter actually triggered Fafnir to freeze him. So that's the reason why my Hall is actually on 1 slot of HP percentage so that he can tank Fafnir that way. So that's the thing. So what I'm trying to achieve over here is if my attacks hit Fafnir, he follows up with a Mistletoe Hunter, which then attracts, you know, the boss attack. But of course, in this case, it didn't happen because if it does happen that he lands the last hit, that's going to attract the final attack from the boss. So this is still pretty fast, and that's because, you know, all of our single target attack, right, especially from Dhalia, especially from Berenice, it's going to trigger Hall to use his passive to attack. So that breaks the shield pretty quickly, which then allows us to deal even more damage to the boss when we get rid of the shield, right? So like for example like that, boom, the shield is gone, and now we can one-shot kill the boss like that, which is pretty awesome. But like I said, this team is going to be slightly slower than the previous 2 teams. I think this kind of like averages at around 2 minutes 15 seconds or 2 minutes 20 seconds, something like that. Wait, what? 1 minute 54 seconds? Okay, that's super fast. I don't normally see this timer with this team, so I think this is just either lucky or maybe I tweaked something that made it so fast. So here are the stats of Hall. Now, for the 4th and final team that we're going to be showcasing today, we are going to be borrowing an Esper from my dude Proto After Dark. Okay, so what we're going to do is replace Hall with her. And now the reason why we want to use her is because her 3rd skill hits so many times, dude. This skill is so broken. Okay, so let's take a look at how powerful Ophelia is for Fafnir, shall we? Okay, so the first waves, or rather the first couple of waves, is going to go away so quickly, right? So she's going to use her 3rd skill to clear this. So fast, or 89,000 damage. Instant clear like that. So she's gonna be so powerful. But okay, so here's the problem with Ophelia. In my opinion, this is the problem, which is during the Fafnir wave, if she uses her 3rd skill, she's not gonna proc all of her pursuits. That's not gonna happen. And the reason for that is because when you drop Fafnir below 1 HP bar, she's not gonna continue pursuing. That's not how it works anymore. Fafnir is gonna respawn immediately, and that's gonna break your combo, right? So she's not going to be like super high functioning. So like for example, my Tang Yun over here, he's also a victim of this all the time. So there you go, we are already down to like way past 50% on the 3rd HP bar just because her damage just obliterated the boss, right? So that's pretty awesome. And now we have instantly freed Ophelia again. And we are going right into the next HP bar. Let's see how much damage this is. 40k, wow, fantastic. Very nice DPS. Honestly, Ophelia is pretty good if you really need something that can deal a lot of single target damage, right? So she is still a great option, but is she necessarily a game changer? That I leave it to you. But there you go, that's it. I think this was pretty fast. Probably like 1 minute 50. Is this the fastest run? I might have unlocked the fastest run. Let's take a look. And it is 135. Wow, so broken, dude. This is so broken. Anyway, here are the stats of the Ophelia that I was using earlier. So here is her attack. Her crit damage is insane and her crit rate is pretty good as well. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys understand a little bit more of how to build a brand new Fafnir team. And there are so many different Espers, right? You can even use Zelma right now. There are so many different Espers that are so viable for Fafnir at this point of time. And in fact, I'm starting to think that, you know, buff strippers are no longer that relevant because as you can see over here, with just simply attack buffs, we are going to blow through Fafnir so quickly, so we don't even need defense breaks all that much, right? But I'm sure there's going to be some very obscure team out there that is going to like one-shot Fafnir again running on auto, which I would like to see as well. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, it really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Daddy Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.